Welcome to the 901 Sports Reloaded podcast. I'm your boy Jacob the Great, along with Icon E and none other than Coach Smith, man. All the way from Pennsylvania, man, and we're going to chop it up about the intellect of a great coach. So, Coach, tell us about, where you from, how you got into coaching, and just introduce yourself to the audience so they can get a briefing on who you are and where you come from.
Well, my name is Coach Philip Smith. I'm from North Hills, Pennsylvania, small town like right outside of Philadelphia. I started coaching football about 7 years ago. Started out, I signed my son up at the time. Was on the sidelines talking, and the coach heard me and asked me to step over the gate. So I spent 2 years as an assistant coach under him. Then I got my own team, and I went on from there, and I went to a championship my first 2 years at Longcrest. We lost, but we went, and after that I just kept learning and doing things like this and talking to different coaches. I ended up getting a high school job. Started out as literally just talking to the coach, trying to get information about the high school game. And, he ended up asking me to come on as an assistant. I came on as an assistant. And then before the season started, I was a paid coach on the staff. So that's really, what I
Okay,
do. And football is really, that's my thing right now.
okay. So you growing up and understanding the game, having love for the game, when did you know that football was something that you want to be involved in for the long haul? You know, did you play in middle school, high school? And if you did, and if you played, how advanced were you in the game? And how did you acquire those skill set to really make you an intellectual thinker and have a high IQ for the game of football?
Well, when I was younger, I played youth football and I played middle school football. I never played high school football. I was actually like really big into basketball at the time, so I was a basketball player. I actually coached basketball for 2 years before I coached football. But like I said, once I stepped over that line from a parent to being a coach for the youth, from that point on, it was over. It was all I did. At work, I do it during my full-time job in the morning. I literally screwed a whiteboard into the living room in my house. Like, that's how dedicated I was from the moment I stepped on as a coach. I knew this was it. This is what I wanted to do.
Okay, that's great. So just want to give a shout out to your boy Eric. He said that he'll be tuning and watching today. And so I just want to
Yeah,
shout out. Yeah, man. Shout out to Eric,
yeah,
man.
that's
'Cause I
that's my
seen him
guy,
all over
man.
social media. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we worked at the warehouse that I managed together. So yeah, he's a good guy. That's my man.
Word. So we are joined by, one of the other hosts, Steve O. What's up, Steve?
What's up, man? How y'all doing, man? Sorry, I apologize
Good.
about being late. I had the wrong link. I was in the wrong place, man. So my bad. Coach, how you doing today, Coach?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, I can't complain, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
That's what's up, man. That's what's good.
So Steve, man, I want you to chop it up with the coach, man. Cause you big on play sets and defenses and offenses and the slot running, the motion and all that. So I want you to go ahead and since he is a wide receiver and a defensive back coach, so this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I like the skill guys, man. I like the skill guys. I love to
Yeah.
show the love to the guys in the trenches too, but everybody come to see the touchdown. So, Coach, I know you did talk about falling in love with the game at an early age and playing in Pop Warner and then coming up and through middle school. When it comes to coaching, though, when you look at coaches and you look at coaches that you grew up watching, and you could kind of see yourself doing it, what coach kind of gave you the inspiration to even start? What coach or who did you see? Was it somebody personally, locally, or did you have a big time star? You like watching.
I was big on Penn State. And no lie, when I was in second grade, me and my second grade, it was in there like an assistant teacher in the room. Me and him wrote a letter to Joe Paterno when I was in second grade.
Okay.
And Joe, he sent me back a letter, and he sent me back like the trading cards for all the whole team at the time. Yeah, man, it was real cool. I was in second grade when that happened. I remember it to the day. Me and Mr. Ford, that was his name, Mr. Ford. We wrote a letter to Joe Paterno at Penn State, and he wrote me back and everything. So that's who I can say.
Joe Paterno, okay, legendary coach. Did you ever at one point see yourself wanting to go play for Coach Paterno?
Yeah, I definitely did at one point, but then I didn't gain the weight that I thought I was going to gain, so I stuck with basketball for a while.
Yeah. That's one thing about football. You got to be very different to defeat that size monster. You know what I mean? A lot of guys are naturally big and naturally faster than a lot of guys. So the size don't always determine where you can go in football, but it's a major factor, especially when you come from a small area. And Coach, could you talk about that too, Coach? Coaching in a small area of where you're from, as far as coaching, your background and where you started, as far as Little League and yourself, and how did that influence you with your coaching style?
Well, I was fortunate when I first started coaching. Like, I had signed my son up for a pretty popular team at the time, so we didn't really have to worry about numbers or anything like that. But I will say, now that I'm in high school where we don't have, like the pick of the litter kids where we can just, select kids. We really have to just take what comes and work with it. So it gives you a different perspective on coaching and, stuff like that. When you really have to coach what comes through the door, you don't have that option to, cut a kid here and there. But
yeah. Okay, so how big is the football program in the state of Pennsylvania?
Well, the state of Pennsylvania is slowly getting very, very popular with football. I think ever since we switched over to the weighted system, because we were on like the weighted, 75s, 95s, stuff like that. But now that we're unlimited, that kind of unleashes all of our monsters to be able to play with their age group.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that big kid that's 10, he isn't playing with the 12s anymore. He's playing with the 10s. And slowly but surely, we're starting to gain traction on the recruitment level as far as college and everything like that. So we're on our way, Hopefully coaches like me and the rest of the guys I know, we can, keep that going.
Okay, so you're from North Hills, Pennsylvania. Is that I know a little bit about the Philadelphia area, Norristown area, and then Allentown area. So I got a lot of family up that way. So how far are you from the Norristown, Allentown area?
From Norristown, I'm probably about 20 minutes. I know I have family in Norristown too. Okay. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Norristown. I used to work in Norristown also. So.
Okay, cool. So I can tell you, from me going up there, people in Philly can do two things. And from the outside looking in, they got a lot of hoop stars and they got a whole lot of boxers. That's fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so, with you coaching football, that's like a whole different level. That that makes you stand out amongst the rest? You know,
Yeah.
when with you coaching football, that's very interesting that you're from the state of Pennsylvania, and not only do you coach football, but you coach the secondary and the wideouts. So tell me how you got love for coaching the DBs and the wideouts. Like how did you fall into that category as a football coach?
Well, I fell into that category because like I like to teach my guys to be aggressive. You know what I mean? And the aggressive that I like to teach translated for my wide receivers and my D backs. When the ball's in the air, the ball is yours. I don't care if you're on offense or you're on defense. When the ball is in the air, the ball is yours. Go get it. My receivers, my D backs, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to, the routes are going to be run fast. They're going to be run sharp, and we're going to attack the football. So I think that's what really, drew me to the wide receivers and D backs because you're on the island.
Yep.
It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like that's big boy football. It's me versus you at the end of the day. And who gonna go get the ball? My guy is gonna go get the ball.
Yeah. Coach, with coach secondary coach, what's your philosophy when it comes to tackling, man? If I want to be a DB for you, are you a person that as long as you hold that leverage, you good, or you want them to go in there and make that tackle and make that play?
You better make that tackle and make that play.
Okay.
If you don't make that tackle and you don't make that play, look, the next guy gonna get an opportunity to do that. Like, like I said, you're on the island. You're our last line of defense. You know what I mean? So the way I look at it and the way what I tell my DBs, especially my safeties and especially my safeties, bro, that's it. You know what I mean? Like if they get past you, that's a touchdown. Like you have to pride yourself as being the best tacklers on the team. I don't care about the hardest hitter.
Okay.
I don't care if you're the hardest hitter on the team. I don't need a Sean Taylor. But I need a guy that I know for a fact is going to go out there and wrap that dude's legs up and bring him down and save a touchdown.
Okay. So now a lot of coaches I talk to when it comes to DBs, they want you to, let's say, just don't lose outside leverage. As long as you don't lose outside leverage where he can get outside, we good. But you want him to go in there, put that shoulder pad on that outside thigh and make that tackle.
Yes, sir. Wrap and roll through. Like, yeah, truly, listen, don't get me wrong. Don't give up the outside leverage. But definitely be aggressive and going and make that tackle. Don't expect anybody else to make that play because there's nobody behind you. Realistically, like when we line up at practice, I tell my DBs and stuff, like, turn around. Look, who's behind you? Nobody out there. It's nobody out there, bro. So if you don't make this play, and I also tell them if you can't make the play, at least attack the play. You know what I mean? Because you can make the play without making the tackle.
Force him back inside.
Exactly. And that's really important that most kids understand that you don't always have to make the tackle to make the play. You know what I mean? You can blow up that block, make the play, open up the tackle for somebody else that's coming over. If everybody where they're supposed to be at, then we won't have a problem with that. So
that's right. I love that, Coach. I love that because, like I said again, a lot of people teach it different. It depends on the philosophy for your defense, depending on the philosophy of the team, of how you guys go about maintaining outside run plays and leverage plays and stuff like that. As far as how you like to teach your DBs coverage, do you guys look at it based on the matchup, Coach? Like, do we want to press these guys because we know they're not good at getting off the press, or do you guys play back? How do you look at going week to week as far as making your game plans for your DBs and wide receivers? Although you ain't got to don't give me your sauce now. I don't want you to give me your sauce.
Hey.
You got your competitors out here. Don't give me too much now. I just keep it.
I'm gonna just tell you, I recognize talent. I'm also a wide receiver coach, you know what I mean? So I can recognize when the DB is like, all right, listen, we ain't going to press this dude.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, we're going to back up a little bit. We're going to give him a little
You got to give him certain respect.
You
got to give him respect.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be a good coach if I didn't respect the opponent. You know what I mean? You always got to respect your opponent. You know what I mean? So I try to make sure that every week is something different. We're not gonna play this guy the same way we played that guy. Those are two different players.
Cool.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely based off a matchup. Some dudes get manned up a little bit more because they can't handle it. Some dudes get pressed a little bit more, they can't handle it. Some dudes we just let run in space because they don't know what they're doing. So
I got you. That's true. That's real.
yeah.
So, Coach, when you and the coaches are talking and y'all watching film, just you and the coaches are watching film, right? So, and when you're on the defensive end and you're talking to, some of the defensive coordinators on the team, and he tells you, man, that receiver right there, number 81 and number 17, their football IQ is very, 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 very up there. And so when a coach says that about a player, how do you prepare your defensive backs for different levels of football IQ when it comes to the opponent?
Well, I try to teach my kids football IQ from the gate because I'll tell them most of the time, football IQ is really more essential than athleticism at some point. If I'm smarter than you, I can figure out a way to shut you down. Like I teach my DBs, you don't have to be the fastest, but if you know certain angles to take, you can beat that fast guy. So I try to make sure my guys are ready for every scenario. If this guy likes to cut off routes and, if we give him a chance, he'll sit down in this route and he'll take what they give us. You know what I mean? That quarterback is smart enough to realize that, hey, if he's running this way and nobody's over there, he'll sit down and curl back or something. I'll see that on film and I'll make sure that my guys are prepared for that because that's my job as a coach. So we make sure that they're prepared for every scenario. As far as I'm concerned, every practice throughout the week, we're going to practice something different. We're going to practice for that super fast guy that wants to beat us down the field. We're going to practice for that guy that wants to cut everything short. You know what I mean? Like, it's a checklist that you want to go through, and it's a system. So that's how I feel like if I'm doing my job as a coach, my guy's IQ is rivaled to anybody else's. So yeah, that player is smart, and I know that player is smart, and I'm gonna tell my players that guy is smart, but he don't know nothing we don't know. You know what I mean? Okay. He's not gonna do anything that I didn't throw at you in practice over and over again. So, practice hard, the games are easy.
Right. And so what I want to say, and Steve, I want you to piggyback off this as well. Now, Coach, what I want to say, I told somebody today that I got Coach Smith on the air tonight. And he said, where he from? I said, he from Pennsylvania, man. And they was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I was like, it's like, so what you gonna ask him? I said, well, one of the questions that I'm gonna ask him, how does one understand when the coaching intellect is something that they never faced before? So you as a coach, and you can, and you got a high IQ when it comes to the game of football. Like, so how do you increase your intellect, and kind of embrace different opponents on the way that you think in your thought process, as far as if it's an offense that you've never seen before, and you can see in the first quarter that one of your DBs, they keep getting beat when this dude run the zigzag route, or when he run a stutter step slant post. And so how do you make your adjustments as an intellectual coach?
You asking me or you asking Steve?
Yeah,
I'm asking you, Coach Smith.
Oh, how I would make that adjustment?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would make the kid aware. Number one, you can't just yell at him for getting beat. You got to let him know exactly what's going on, even if because like as a high school player, high school coach, as a youth coach, you always have that one special kid that I can just throw in there for a player too. I may not want to play my quarterback on defense, but hey, go to corner for a play. Hey, you, come here. Look, Johnny, come here real quick. Let me tell you, listen, when you see him setting you up on that zigzag route, you know what I mean? You got to coach kids through. And that's what it is. Sometimes, especially on the youth level, you're more susceptible to it, where it's like, look, you got to just coach this kid through the moment. This kid never really seen that route before. You know what I mean? Like he covered it, but it was against his friends. He never really took it serious. So you just got to coach him through that moment. At the high school level, that's a little tough because it's like,
because I ain't got time for that. I got
listen, I'm trying to win the championship. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, I expect y'all to be on a little higher level of intellect to understand that slant that he running before he run that zig route is really lazy. And you need to know that he's setting you up to cut back outside. You know what I mean? Because we went over that in practice. You know what I mean? So when a kid is getting beat or is having trouble, you don't want to automatically pull a kid because that will kill their confidence.
of course.
Especially, each kid is different. So some kids you may have to pull him for a player to get in his ear and then throw him back in the game. But then some kids you just gotta let them play through it. You know what I mean? And it's all about the kid in certain circumstances.
Right. Steve?
Okay, so I know, Coach, you were talking about making the adjustments, or Jacob asked about making the adjustments. When it comes to making an adjustment on the fly, like in the game, scheme wise, how do you handle that? Or do you guys have assistants that handle it? Do you pull the team to the side yourself, your DBs to the side yourself, and say, hey, we ain't doing this. We're going to press up on everybody. I want everybody pressed up together. Or is it more on a case by case basis where you go to kid by kid and say, hey, let's make this adjustment?
Well, with the high school level, I'll have a suggestion and I'll take it to the defensive coordinator.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And I'll let him know what I think we should do. And then, I'm kind of at the mercy of what he wants to do. But most of the time we see eye to eye and he'll see what I see. So most of the time it's a scheme thing. So it's like, all right, if we're getting beat with these routes, then we need to play a coverage that's going to stop these routes. Okay. Instead of playing man on these, these zig routes or these out routes, let's zone it up.
Gotcha.
Because we don't have the athletes to cover that's
quickness. True.
So let's play a zone and let them come to us. You know what I mean?
That's true. You run into a lot of coaches though with an ego, man, and you don't want to make them adjustments sometimes. I know you don't see it yourself. They don't want to make them adjustments, but you got to be able to. You got to know your kids, man. You got to know their strengths and weaknesses, and what they can do and what they can't. So the fact that you can recognize that, and you and your staff are able to recognize that and talk about making them adjustments on the fly, not waiting to halftime. I definitely commend you guys and definitely say I can appreciate that as watching as a parent that you guys are able to take my kid and do that kind of stuff. Because that's what you have to prepare for on the next level if you want to play on the next level. So.
Exactly. And as a youth coach and even as a high school coach, my job is to get you ready for the next level. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like my youth kids, we run a pro style offense. We huddle up. I talk to the quarterback. He has plays on the wristband. He calls his plays.
Okay.
I even put in lingo that my high school players use. I coached 12U football. Okay. You know what I mean?
So you got pretty much like a pipeline. If you got a middle school involved with this thing, exactly. You got a pipeline that you guys are creating or trying to create pretty much where you get your kids in that system, like you said, from the jump. You got the middle school that they go and kind of develop their bodies at. By the time you get to high school, you should have the scheme and the body together. But we doing this thing by year 4, we got a couple championships rolling in.
Because everything's the same. You've been running the same system. You're comfortable in it. You know exactly what's expected of you.
You got to
And,
mimic in the South, man. The South been doing that for a long time. So
Yeah,
we
man,
take the youth coaches and bring them to the high school. We send them off to get degrees so they can come back and be the high school coach. That's what we do in the South, because they know these kids from elementary school. The youth coach goes to the middle school. They go to middle school all 4 years with those 3 years with those students. Then they go to the high school and be the coach for 4 years. So that's how a lot of the powerhouses here in Georgia do it.
it's all familiarity, man. Like when I first started this last year was probably my first year coaching where I didn't have my kids.
Oh, okay.
Like I literally moved up with my kids from about, I want to say like 6U to 10U.
Oh man,
You know what I mean? Like I had those same kids, even when I switched teams.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those kids came with me.
Okay.
So I definitely understand the power in having that same group and that same system and being able to move as one. That's definitely big.
Yeah, man. I agree with you on that, Coach.
Okay, Coach. So with that being said, man, you moved from you coach you was a youth coach for quite some time, so you moved to high school. So
Yeah.
I just want to ask you about the strength and conditioning part of your players, and you know how important that is to you and your staff when it comes to strength and conditioning. Because I believe that every high school should hire a strength and conditioning coach. Not the
Okay.
defensive coordinator do it, not the offensive coordinator do it, not the running back coach do it, not the DB receiver coach do it, but hire a coach that focuses on strength and condition of every athlete on the team. And so,
Yeah.
what do you feel about the importance of that strength and conditioning for every athlete?
Like I said, I coach at a small high school, man, and we have a strength and conditioning coach.
That's what's up.
Like you need a strength and conditioning coach, and not only a strength and conditioning coach, but I believe all teams need a track coach on their team as well, especially in the high school level, because if you look, a lot of these kids don't know how to run.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of their forms are messed up and it slows them down a lot. So as far as like strength and conditioning, I preach investing yourself. You know what I mean? Investing yourself. When you're home, do your push-ups, do your sit-ups. While you sitting there watching your YouTube videos as kids do, you know what I mean? Like
that's what they're doing. So yeah,
you know what I mean? Do some curls. I know you got the weights in the house. Like just do something with yourself. Like it'll really pay off. And strength and conditioning on the off season, there is no off season. There's no games. That's the only difference. There's no off season. There's no games. So you should be doing something to help yourself. And then when you get to us for strength and conditioning, it's going to be, you know, we're going to see where you're at first. And then we're going to start to implement where we think you should be and how we're going to get you there. So if we think you need to, you know, do a couple more laps, you'll be running. If we think we need to hit those weights a little bit more, then you'll be in the weight room. You know what I mean? But it's not, I would say it's a set program, but it's a set aimed program. Like we're not going to have the kid that's already benching, you know, 350 in the gym still. You know what I mean? Like let's make sure his footwork is right. Let's make sure, you know what I mean, everything else is cool with him. So,
Coach, what you I know you coaching DBs and wide receivers now. I know we talked about having that pipeline and the familiarity of having your players. Wide receivers and DB coaches in Georgia are all the 7-on-7 coaches.
Yeah.
What do you think about the 7-on-7 game and how that's affecting the kids nowadays, man? How do you encourage your kids? I know some coaches don't really like the 7-on-7. They're not running, say they don't really like it, but they're not a fan of the 7-on-7 leagues per se. But the drills and the work they don't mind. What you think about that, Coach?
It's so funny. This is literally be my first year coaching 7-on-7. I had my first game this Sunday.
Look at it.
Look, I had my first 7-on-7 game this Sunday coming up with my kids. I think it's good as long as you have something for the big guys. You know what I mean? I think 7-on-7 is good for the quarterbacks, especially the quarterbacks. But I think the quarterbacks and maybe like the DBs get the most out of 7-on-7.
I agree.
Quarterbacks, because they just get to see different coverages and throw against different coverages. So that's great for them. DBs, they get to see different looks and, learn, patterns and stuff like that. So it's really good for them. Wide receivers, they get something out of it, but I feel like
it's more glory for them, Coach. They out there showboating, they catch.
They
dancing.
That's what they do.
Because
that's what they do anyway.
Like, let's be honest. I played 7. They're at an advantage. They know where they're going. They know where the ball's going. DB, you're reacting to somebody else's movement, so naturally they're an advantage when it comes to 7-on-7. So I know I have a quarterback. Me and Ken have a quarterback on our Total Show football show on Saturdays. And he was 7-on-7, man, and he's traveling around. They're all over the world. They're in Arizona, they're in Chicago, they're all over. Would you feel better with a kid playing another sport, or do you think they should just stick to the 7-on-7s when it comes to off-season work?
Oh no, play everything.
Yeah.
Play everything, man.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to do. Play soccer, play baseball, play tennis. Because everything equates. You know what I mean? That reaction time of tennis will, help you in football. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That conditioning in track will help you in and how to run.
I ain't a fan.
So everything equates.
What you say, Jake?
Coach Smith, I'm not a fan of 7-on-7. You know why? I couldn't imagine playing 7-on-7 when I was growing up.
For the big guy. It's not for you. You not playing.
I understand. I understand, and I actually think it takes away from the actual gridiron of football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and so I'm like, okay, like 7-on-7, interesting, like. I'm like, okay.
I'm with Coach. I think they got to come up with something with the big guys. I said do a 7-on-7, but flip it. Give you 5 offensive linemen, 2 running backs, and you got 4 offensive linemen and 3 linebackers.
Yeah, you gotta have something. Like if we gotta figure out some type of competition that we can have for the big guys. If we're gonna do 7-on-7. Because it's really important. Like
yeah, it is, bro.
Like, you
don't
can't
get
get away
wrong,
from it,
right?
because these schools are giving grade. These kids are getting grades off 7-on-7s now. You got DBs and wide receivers that are getting star ratings, and star ratings ain't everything, but to some of these kids in some of these schools, it is. And if you're going to get a 5-star rating because you showed out at a 7-on-7 count, that is not fair to the offensive lineman or defensive lineman that don't get that opportunity. So I agree with that.
I mean, especially when defensive tackle, nose guard, offensive left guard, offensive right guard, like it just, like I'm like, okay, like, so you're right. It's got to be something for the big guys, and the linebackers ain't considered as the big guys. Not in my.
They not.
No.
Not in my era, bro.
They not.
No. I completely agree with that.
In my era, bro, the linebackers couldn't even work out with us. That's facts.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I agree.
You gotta.
You know what I mean? So, but I mean,
you definitely gotta have.
It's blowing up though. 7-on-7. It's blowing up. So whatever they're doing is definitely working, and it's working nationwide. So I mean, I could
see touchdowns, man. People want to see touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Everybody like the flashy guys.
But man, the private school's been playing 7-on-7 for years. Like the
And some of the smaller schools, like I don't know if you ever watched
Yeah.
football in Montana, but in
Yeah,
Montana
like
they have enough kids to really play 11 on 11. So they only have 3 linemen and 3 defensive tackles, and
right,
they play
Yeah,
football. So,
yeah, I seen that.
right.
That's
So when I first thought of 7-on-7 coach, I really thought of flag football. Like when somebody first told me about it,
I
I
mean,
I thought about flag football. You know what I mean?
that's essentially what it
I was just
is,
about to
man.
say, essentially, that is without the flag.
Yeah, sometimes it is flags. You know what I mean, depending on what league you playing in and stuff like that.
Okay,
But
okay.
I I'm not gonna say I'm against it because I feel like if I have a quarterback that I feel like this kid could possibly be something, I want him in the 7-on-7 league where I
Okay.
know he's going to get the reps at throwing the ball, and he's going to get to see that cover 2, that cover 0, that cover 1, that cover 4, that man, you know what I mean, that nickel, the dime, he get to see all those different setups and everything like that in 7-on-7. And I know that'll help him a lot when it gets to fall. And especially when you're dealing with kids, it's harder to teach the passing game than it is the running game.
Yeah.
So if I can go into the fall season with my quarterback and my running backs, my receivers already up to date with the passing game, now I get to have fun with my hogs up front. And now I get to really focus in on them because now I can put the skill guys off with my, because I'm a head coach for my younger kids. So now I can give my wide receiver coach, my skill guys coach, the younger guys. Now I get to play with the big boys up front. You know what I mean? And now I get to really focus on them and how to block. So we should be a well-oiled machine by the time the first game comes on. You know what I mean? Because if we can block, we can run. And if we can pass, we can run. So I feel like the 7-on-7 will really help as far as just advancing us going forward into the season, because now it's something I don't really have to teach that much.
So, Coach, let me ask you a question. So the 7-on-7 helps the quarterback, the wide receiver, but when the quarterback plays against a real hard-nosed defense on the 11-on-11, I don't want the quarterback to be discombobulated, man, because
Old school. He ain't
you
getting
know,
hit. He ain't getting thrown on the ground. That he gonna think he gonna get
bro, cause when you got the nose guard, the defensive tackle, the linebacker, and both defensive ends coming at you, listen, man,
It's a
and
different.
all the
It's a
and man,
different.
cause you got
Yeah.
defensive tackles in high school that run 4.7, 4.6.
It's a
they
different
getting faster
monster, but
than
they
that.
can't sit back there all game. They can't sit back there all day. It's only
No,
a
in
3 to 5 seconds, coach, or something
I
like that.
think in our 7-on-7 league, we have 4 seconds to throw the ball. Our
So they don't got
quarterbacks
all
have
day
4
to just sit
seconds.
back. They can't just sit
Yeah,
back
they have
there and
4
just,
seconds.
you know what I mean, just wait and just pick people apart. It's not like that. It's fast paced. Some of them only give them 3 seconds. I seen in Arizona, you get 3 seconds to throw the ball. That's it.
Yeah, because that's what you realistically looking at. You know what I mean? So you get 4 seconds in the league we
Okay.
at, and you
Now
got to
I'm
get.
saying you don't get the hands around you. You don't get the people swiping at you. You don't get to having to move in the pocket and the footwork perspective of having to move and maneuver the pocket. So that aspect of it they are missing. I agree with you on that part, Jacob. They don't have bodies around them. You don't have people falling on you.
True.
So it's hard to simulate that. You know what I mean? It's just period.
True.
Right,
But
right,
I think
right. So it's interesting, man, how big it's gotten, and it's very interesting that that people have really developed a skill set from playing the 7-on-7, because I ain't gonna tell you no story, man. Some players that I've heard their testimonials, their skill set got much better after playing 7-on-7 for a year or two. You know what I mean? And I think that's a great thing. You know what I mean? And with you being on the high school level, man, and I don't know. Soon we'll probably see you on the collegiate level as well. I'm gonna go ahead and claim it for you. You know what I mean? So
appreciate it.
yes, sir, yes, sir. So I think, man, that every offensive lineman and every defensive lineman needs to go to those offense alignment and defensive alignment camps every year. I don't really think they need to go to a regular football camp with the whole team. I think they need to learn their agility, how to come off the ball, learn the skill set. And if you play nose guard, you have to learn to defend that center. Like the center got his head down like that. So if you know how to work your flipper and you hit him in the side with the hole with the helmet at, he's definitely on top. You know what I mean?
That's
not
old
illegal,
school.
bro. That's not illegal, bro. That's not. It's a flipper. It's a flipper, bro. Like you can get him in the chest with the flipper right now.
That coach was it still legal? I know it's an old school move, but I didn't know if it was still legal.
I'm just saying, bro. Or when he comes up, you just swipe the back of the helmet and it gonna throw him off balance. Yeah, bro.
Hey man, it all works. Look, especially at the nose guard, you get away with a lot at nose guard.
You do, bro. You do.
They can't see nothing in there.
They're right.
So, yeah, definitely. That's why I said though. We definitely need something.
Hey, Steve, I'm just letting you know how it go, bro. That's all.
Yeah, hey, ain't never been in them trenches. I can't even speak on it. The trenches is something different. So
no. Yeah, that's why I said we definitely need something for the big guys though. Like they need that's the lifeline, man. If I don't care how skilled your outside dudes is, I don't care if you got that 5-star running back, whatever. If you can't block,
can't do nothing.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. If you can't rush the passer, if you can't stuff them gaps, I don't care how good your corners is. I don't care how good your safety is. After 5 seconds, my receivers is going to get open.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you can't apply no pressure up front, offensively or defensively, man, then it's over. Quiet is kept. If I could, I would coach the offensive and defensive line. You know what I mean? I did that. That's what I do. Like with my little guys, like I said, I'll make the offense, I'll make the defense. But when it comes to working with the skill guys, hey man, you got the receivers, you got the running backs, you got the quarterbacks. I'm going with the big dudes up front because I need to solidify that we good up front. We good up front, and kids can run all day.
Right.
Yeah, you see that a lot in Georgia, man. High schools, the powerhouses, you can tell their offensive line and defensive line when they get off the bus. They separate themselves as soon as they get off the bus in Georgia.
You got to. You got to know
already tell the game about to be 60-0 based off offensive lines looking.
It's funny you say that, man, because I remember while they was on the field doing sprints in 40 times, the lineman was running up and down the bleachers. And so it was like, coach was like, you got to get those legs strong, man, because you're gonna be down in the trenches, and I can't have y'all cramping up. So, like he, and then when you're trying to run your mouth and you let a running back juke you, or you miss a block assignment, just go ahead and do them 50-yard back crawls with somebody on your back. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Man.
Big on consequences.
After you slap somebody in their helmet, you got to go do all that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. But I mean, it's football, man. So I think the new NFL is really soft compared to when like Mike Singletary and all Ronnie Light and all them played, bro.
Yeah,
I think they just call it's like the new NBA. It's soft too, bro.
People don't want to see people get their head cracked on TV no more, man. I think this is what it is.
What is that, man?
I know the sport is the game, but
that's what you sign up for, bro. Football, a man's game. It's gridiron. You know what I mean? It's not for the weak, man. And bro, ain't nobody out here feeding you Gerber. It's a man's game.
And when you put money into the mix with it, it becomes even more of a man's game. I got to feed my family, so my job is to take your head off. So what you think about this NIL stuff, man? What you got going on? You got some players dealing with this NIL. They asking y'all questions about NIL. Now me and Jacob part ways here too. So what you think about this NIL? Let me get your take on this.
I feel like it's a good thing until they make it a bad thing. I feel like once they start talking about like the kids from Alabama get more than the kids from, Ohio State. Now that's when the problems is going to start. I think they needed to come up with, I wouldn't even say pay the kids. I like the fact that every kid on the football team should have a free tuition. Just give me that. Just give them that. And that should be fine. As far as them making money on the outside.
You're right. You know why you're right? Because they make millions and millions off the football games, bro. Off merchandising, man. Off the alumni donating, $10 million a year to the school, and you got about 30 of them doing it. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you're right, man. But bro, you can't give Johnny Paul, $3 million, man, and Johnny Paul, he just be like, what? You tell me what to do, and I got $3 million in my account. Like, what? Are you sick? Like you can't just give kids that much money at 17 years old, man.
That's true.
I don't say you can't. No, you can't do that. You got to structure it where you're gonna have to do 4 years, and then you'll get the payment, or you'll get partial payments. Like, I don't believe in just giving a high school kid coming to your program $2 million as soon as he hit campus because he signed his letter of intent and he's on the way. No, you can't do it like that. I am an advocate for these kids getting paid though, because I just see how much the schools make, how much the coaches make. These kids, okay, you give them an education, true enough, but they still have to earn that. You ain't gonna just give them a free education. They gotta go to class, they got tests they have to pass. They still have to earn that education. I understand it's gonna be free, but that doesn't even equate to half the money that they would make my freshman year off of one move. So I think they should just structure it where the kids are getting an annual salary based off all the players. All the players get 40,000, 30,000. Just give it an annual number and keep it there. And as you move up to seniors and junior, it may increase. But I think it should be structured that way personally. But I don't want to put a cap on it because they're not going to put a cap on how many jerseys they sell.
True. And I hear that, but then it's like for some of those kids, like, I'm not even going to say for some of those kids, for majority of those kids, that degree is going to be more than those 4 years of playing football.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of those kids, truth be told, aren't going to play after they graduate college.
That's true.
So them being able to make sure that they have their education down. They have, everything that they need as far as being able to set up a life for them beyond football. I think that's really, really important. And then if they can go and they can make some money, if they can pick up an ad, an advertising guy here and there, Mike's Car Wash want to pay you, $30,000 to be in a couple commercials, then cool, that's great for you. Do that. But I think as far as the schools are concerned, every kid on that football team needs a free education.
So Oklahoma rolled out something last week, Coach. They said they're going to pay every player, anybody that makes the roster, walk on regardless, 40 to 50,000 per player out the door.
I'm about to go back to school.
But Steve,
go ahead.
I can go along with that better than I can just giving three elite players
$1 million deal. I got
$3 million a piece.
And that's why I said in the beginning, and that's when you get the difference between paying certain kids this amount and then certain kids this amount. That's when the problems is going to start. You know what I mean? But if you come up with a flat rate, listen, every kid gets this, I'm great with that as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to have to be because, like you said, with Jacob, like Jacob said, you can't control it. It's like a wild, wild west, man. And unfortunately, you're going to have people who handle it. It's going to be a dark side to it. You know what I mean? Because a player doesn't perform, now they're going to start asking for stuff back. You know what I mean? It's going to be a dark side to it, and it's a mental health. I think that the schools should provide a mental health assessment for all the kids and some type of a financial education for the kids and the immediate families. Because if I'm giving this kid $1 million by the time he leaves his school and nobody in their family has ever had $1 million, how you think that that's going to kind of work out? You know what I mean? So
those coaches that coach the rookies, you know how the rookies had those coaches when they come in, you know, the coaching with the PR and the coaching with the financial stuff. Those guys need to be in colleges. They need I completely agree with you. That needs to be a college course. They need to start teaching those kids how to handle that type of money, that type of success, and not even if they do make it in football. But let's say they in college and they come up with Google. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They come up with Facebook or something. They need to learn how to handle that money. So I definitely agree. Like that financial management and everything like that has to be a part of a college curriculum, especially for athletes.
Yep, I agree.
But so yeah, so that's what it is. So coach, what you got coming up next, man? As far as you know, you got summer camps that you're running, or what's going on?
7-on-7 Saturday, right?
Yeah, 7-on-7 starts Sunday, man. So
Sunday.
I'm gonna rock out with my Ivy Hill squad.
Okay.
This weekend, you know what I mean? We're gonna go in there, we're gonna do what we need to do. After 7-on-7 season, we'll start the off season, you know, the summer workouts and all that. I get the kids probably like, you know, like 2 or 3 weeks to go, you know, chill out, have fun, be kids. But if you want to be a football player, I'll see you back out here in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, I try to teach the kids early, you know what I mean? Like, it's a difference between a kid playing football and a youth football player and a kid playing football. You know what I mean? Like, that's a different monster.
Yeah.
A football player, or are you going to be playing football? If you're going to be a football player, I'll see you back out here in 3 weeks. And we're gonna be, you know, we're gonna be running and we're gonna be hitting the ladder and we're gonna be doing all this other stuff. You're gonna be mad at me during the summer when it's hot. In the fall.
Oh well, I mean,
of course, yeah.
Summertime, man. I be telling my cousin, man, my little young cousin that play football. I say, man, we used to practice 2 times a day in the summer. We used to practice from 8 to 11.
2 a day.
And from 6 to 9.
I mean, you wasn't doing that. You was outside with the homies doing it. So it was nonstop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, and I told my pops, I said, man, it's too hot to be practicing. He said, what? He said, man, look, heat wasn't made for man. Man was made for heat. You ain't gonna quit.
You can't. That's where the mental toughness come in.
Yeah.
That's when the mental toughness come in.
Yeah.
Who you gonna be? What you gonna do?
That's
you
right.
Gonna quit? You gonna fold?
That's right. That's right, bro. That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coach, who you like in the pros, man? Who you pro team?
I'm a Cowboy.
Oh shit.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Steve O, man, don't act like that, bro. Don't act like that.
Who you rocking with, Steve?
I'm home guy, man. I'm Atlanta, everything. You better add Jake.
Hey, I ain't mad. I'm actually about to be down there, man. I'm coming down there next month.
Oh yeah?
I'll be in Atlanta next month. Coming down there.
Hit me up, Coach. I'm here, man. Hit me. It's my city, Coach. Hit me up. I got you.
Yes, sir.
Take you to a couple spots, man. Show you around.
Oh, I definitely be on that.
He definitely do that now.
Look, I'll be down there. I'll be down there. We'll talk about that off air.
Yeah, Coach. But so, Coach, man, it's been greatness having you on. So, tell everybody where they can reach you at, man. You know, because there's a lot of coaches watch, a lot of parents that watch, and you know, just tell everybody where they can meet you and support you at.
I'm at Coach_Phil_Smith IV on Instagram. My Facebook is just Philip Smith. You can find me there. Yeah, that's where I'll be at. That's what I do. You know, I accept friend requests. I may check your profile, but I'll accept you.
Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt, man. So, Steve, anything that you want to add?
No, Coach, man, I just appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you for your time, man. Good luck for you guys and you guys this season. Let's say I definitely check you out, man. We got the football show on Saturday. If you got some kids from the 7-on-7 or any DBs or wide receivers, man, that you would let us interview, man, I'd love to have them on, man. I'd love to give kids a platform and give them a chance to get interview skills and interview, etiquette when it comes to answering questions and putting them in the spotlight and putting them in different positions to let their personality shine on camera too. Because that's a skill that they need, especially if they want to succeed on the next level. And you never know what people want to get into, man. So if you got some kids, I'm gonna follow you. We got a show on Saturday that we do is nothing but football from high school all the way through pros. But yeah, we definitely check you out in 7-on-7 too. So we talk about that too. So.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, anytime y'all need me, anytime y'all want me, I'm here, man. I'm available. This is what I do all day, every day. So we talking football, you can count me in.
Right. So Coach, I'll be hitting you about some other things, man, that want you to be a part of. Until next time, man, stay blessed. Keep it safe, and most of all, stay away from COVID. We out of here.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right, peace.